What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Frogs and Friends Roundtable. This is what, episode number 6 here, guys? Can't believe it's been 6 episodes already, 6 weeks running. We got here with us some frogs. We got some regular frogs here with us. We got Adam, we got Krash, we got Ryan, and we also have Meta. What's going on, boys?
Yo,
Fellas, what's happening?
Hell
Let's
yeah.
go. So much to
Well,
talk about.
I was gonna say, every week it's like there's so much to talk about, and we try to have bullet points and such, and it's like, all right, we have like 20 bullet points to talk about. So it's never a shortage. But first and foremost, Adam, you wanted to kind of touch on, we'll start a little bit. We didn't really talk about current events type stuff last week. So we'll touch it on this here a little bit, and you wanted to bring up a little bit about the Strait of Hormuz and the Iran situations. You want to lead us into that?
Sure. Well, it's the continual back and forth ping pong ball. Trump says one thing, Iran says the exact opposite. Back and forth, back and forth. The markets really don't know what to do right now. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's recovering. Um, and really, the world's just kind of sitting here in almost like a stalemate. And I feel like this is the last pressure valve before takeoff. And once this thing gets figured out, I think it has lasting repercussions globally. And this ties into, we were talking about this pre-show. This ties into what's going on with the old world order, shall we call it, instead of the new world order. And then it also ties into pricing here domestically via energy, via food, etc. It seems like this is the real battleground to shift the power structure from the old world order to the more sovereign world order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, today, even just a couple hours ago, Iran has rejected the most current peace treaty, I guess, or the terms and conditions that Trump and U.S. have sent over to pretty much uh, permanently have a peaceful treaty. And so apparently, senior Iranian official, he was like, "No, we want reparations for the time that you guys pretty much fucked up the
Blew the
strait
shit
for
out of our
us."
country. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess the first thing when I read this, I'm like, so does this mean that Trump is gonna blow him back to the Stone Age, or is that kind of all talk, or where are we kind
Well,
of
think about the lead up
at?
to this, right? So, what did Trump announce prior to this? Project Freedom, which was
Hmm.
going and escorting ships that have nothing to do with this conflict through the strait. And then all of a sudden, Pakistan's like, hey, can you pause that? I think we might have a deal with Iran. And then, was it a day later? Iran
Yeah.
says, fuck you, we're fighting. And so it's like, is this really new? I think it's showing two things. One, Trump's trying to be reasonable. Okay, well, go ahead. Let's try and come to a deal. He's done this so many times, and the Iranians just keep coming back and spitting in his face to the point where it's going to justify civilizational ruin of Iran.
Hmm.
I mean, like at this point, okay, you can't even deal with these motherfuckers. Fine, take out the power plants.
Yeah.
Then let's see if we can have a deal. And then you're gonna say, "Fuck you, Trump!" Like blah blah blah. It's like, dude, it's just never gonna end. But
Now,
it seems to be working in Trump's favor to where everyone's just like, "Fucking just nuke these motherfuckers." You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Now, to my understanding, correct me or anyone, correct me if I'm wrong here. Trump is kind of dealing with like two factions of Iran as far as like the actual civilian government, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have the ones that are like actually kind of in charge here. Like,
IRGC.
yes. Now that kind of, now it's hard to
Oh,
tell exactly what's true or not here with this fog of war, everything going on here, and how all the narrative is being pushed and everything. Now is that true at least? Anyone?
well, do you remember Trump just said something like 2 days ago that we were arming the Iranian people?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's going on in the background, and it was kind of quiet. It was just kind of like, yeah, we've been arming the Iranian people.
Hmm.
So that could be something that's going on in the background to where all of a sudden that's a black swan for Iran. Well, the people just rise up, take out whoever these warring factions are with inside Iran, and
Yeah.
then figure out who we're really supposed to be dealing with. I mean, I don't know. All I'm trying to do is just follow the dots. It's just like everybody else. I think, um, you know, they're looking at the markets and they're like, "Oh, this is really bad. It's going to destroy the stock market." But the stock market's hitting all time highs, which is then perplexing people because then they're like, "Well, then the market must be fucking manipulated." So I don't know, man. Like it just seems like things are coming to a head day by day by day by day.
Hmm. Yeah. It is crazy to see though, like today when I looked at the portfolio and I seen like a straight down, like everything's like down. And I'm like, well, something must have happened with this straight or with Trump or something like that. Cause like you can just look at your portfolio and be like, okay, I can know what the narrative is today. And that's so crazy. Like, and
That's so true.
it's so enhanced though, like since Trump's been back in now. And I mean, you could argue it kind of was always like that, like at least like the last 8 years or so. But like it seems like this time around, like it's certainly uh enhanced. You can tell.
Yeah, it's like vibes, right? Yesterday was a good vibe. It
Yeah.
was like, okay, maybe this is coming to an end.
Hmm.
Today, no, go fuck yourself. It's not coming to an end. We win.
Any thoughts, Meta?
Oh, it's so hard to, like know. I think there's signal in all of it, but like it's hard not to look at the whole thing as just a giant exposure op too.
Hmm.
There's so many things that I've said this earlier, and I think like, what is the purpose of the information war, right? Is there actually a battle here? Are there remnants of, say, the opposition, well, the cabal, whatever, deep state, whatever term you want to use, right? The bad guys, and
Hmm.
there are good, are there good guys, and what does that actually mean if there are, like if it is, and what is the point of what they're doing? And I think there's a lot of that stuff baked into it. Like you have a lot of people talking about insider trading because there's clearly somebody taking advantage of the price of oil and making trades based on that. Will
Yeah,
we ever find out who that is?
wasn't there a big short on oil, what, Tuesday night
Uh-huh.
in the Wednesday morning, I think? Right when oil yesterday went like completely down at market open, and there was a big short taken out the night before. So like, yes, we see
Yeah,
that all
well,
the time here
and then
recently.
crash right after that. All of a sudden, you get these reports that Iran's firing missiles at ships, and then there goes oil right back
Yeah.
up.
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
Yep.
so funny, man.
But there does seem to be some trades being made based on things before they happen, whether they're real or not, narratively. There seems to be some type of an exploitation of the overarching market. So I kind of look at it because I can kind of speculate about the micro, but like the bigger picture of like all the things that are happening are interesting, in a different way. And I see a lot of people just kind of saying, and you look at like the sort of background noise, people posting TikToks and things like that, like showing prices at the supermarket and all the things that are, the costs of fuel are driving up, and people are talking about inflation, which is then prompting more conversations about what, inflation was a problem before the Iran thing started happening. So I don't know. I know that's kind of like a lazy answer, but it's an honest one. That's kind of my gut on it. It feels both like it's, you know, part of the narrative, part of the story that's being told, and then also an exposure op in parallel. Both of those things are happening.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got the globalists coming out and regrouping publicly. They're actually telling their public that they're trying to rebuild their old world order and having Europe as the head of it.
Yeah.
Europe's in trouble.
Yeah, they're the ones that are kicking and screaming right now, and even out in public territory. Like you can certainly tell they're not happy with a lot of different shit that's going on. Especially, you could argue, especially with the England's proxy, Iran and Ukraine. But that's
Right?
for a little bit of a different angle. But like Iran is that's where a lot of the proxy stuff for England, like the Kingdom of England and King Charles and stuff. So,
City of London, yeah.
yeah, City of London. Yeah. So, with that being said, we also have another proxy, if you will, in Canada. And we got Ryan, our homegrown Canuck here that lives in Canada. And
Yeah.
we have a little video here that we want to show of Clarny saying some outrageous shit. So we will play that, and we will, on the other side here, we'll get Ryan will give his thoughts here from Canada's side of things.
Crown is a continuous thread through our constitutional life. It is, as His Majesty himself said, a symbol of Canada in all her richness and dynamism. And the Governor-General is the Crown's representative in Canada, Commander-in-Chief of the Canadian Armed Forces, steward of our traditions. The Governor-General is the guardian of our constitutional order. The most demanding part of that role is rarely seen. It's the duty to ensure that government in Canada is formed, sustained, and, when the time comes, dismissed in accordance with law and convention.
I want to get your take here first. What does that clip kind of tell you, if anything?
Well, I don't know. That's the first time I've seen that clip, but I definitely want to watch the rest of that video to get more context. But yeah, the Governor General is traditionally in Canada, for as long as I know, has just mainly been a figurehead that just indulges in expense accounts and does literally nothing. Carney's, I guess, trying to put that role to the figurehead here. The Governor General is appointed by the King under the Prime Minister's recommendation, or the Queen back in the day. And so yeah, I don't know. Like Canada, my opinion is, Canada is one of the corrupt laundering shitholes that, just like Ukraine and Iran were for their deep state assets, in my opinion. Because Ukraine, you had biolabs, you had neo Nazis, and you had Putin go and take care of that as bad guy number one. And then Iran, you got Trump taking that out, and they've got the Lloyd's of London funding and all the other whatever. The nuclear dust that probably was provided by Obama. And now Canada, well, Trump's already told you what Canada's about. It's about fentanyl, and we had the biggest fentanyl bust literally 45 minutes from where I live, in North America. Nobody does anything about it. The cartels operate here freely, and the Chinese as well. So you have the Mexicans and the Chinese in conjunction working, laundering money through casinos, it's unbelievable. So it's super corrupt here. The police won't do anything about it. They know about it. And it's just they're appointed by the government itself. So it's Canada's next, man. That's what I said. It's going to happen, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll welcome American liberation with open arms. People will be having beers for them and everything. So when it happens, you know what I mean? Because Canada's we're just too domesticated up here, and we did the trucker thing, but we had enough after a year and a half. But you know what? It's just I don't think that's going to happen again. And I know people here have had enough. And there's a big, huge census revolt. They sent out a census, and everybody's telling everybody, the government to piss off. But I don't know. That's just such a small little thing to do to And yeah, the Governor General. What else? She's got
Now,
some powers, apparently, though. She does have some powers to dissolve government, and it could trigger an election, which would be nice. But our elections aren't secure; they're totally fabricated and fake and gay, just like your guys' were in 2020.
mhm.
So it doesn't really matter. I don't get excited about any of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this is a slightly off topic. Isn't Edmonton more, weren't they like a year ago trying to say, yeah, we'll kind of succeed from Canada, or like they're the more like
Yeah,
conservative?
Alberta right now is our province right next to British Columbia. So British Columbia actually votes. The whole province votes conservative, except for down in what's called the city of Vancouver, and
Okay.
they're the ones who. There's so many people in the city of Vancouver that the population density down there is the same as the rest of the province. So if you look at it on a map, it's just like what? It's probably like Illinois and Chicago, right? Or you know what I mean, like that.
Right.
And so they get to basically dictate what the rest of the province does. So really, the province of British Columbia is very conservative. Especially as soon as you get out of the Lower Mainland, it's completely conservative. Now Alberta is conservative almost 100%, and that's how they vote. And they have gotten enough votes to trigger an election for basically leaving Canada, becoming a sovereign nation. And that would be, I mean, and that is 100% a direct result of 11 years of liberalism. And there's no other way to put it. They never ever have talked about separation as when any other, even liberals or conservatives were in power. But that province, we do what's called what do they call it? I can't remember the name now. But we pay all the west, basically the west of Canada from Ontario west. We don't even get a vote. So when an election comes, it's that you get the Eastern time zone, so it rolls across New Brunswick and Newfoundland all the way into Ontario. And by the time Ontario's done voting, it's already decided. There's enough seats there to already form a majority government, and the West can basically not even show up to the polls. It doesn't matter. So for forever, we've had not enough representation to ever even change how the East votes, and the East are just fucking retards over there.
Yeah,
They
okay,
always
yeah.
vote left. Okay, I don't get it, but I honestly don't think they won the last election. I think it was stolen big time, and I think a lot of the people in the East have even had enough. I mean, 11 years of Trudeau and his frickin' socks and all that shit. It's ridiculous, it's embarrassing, right? And then and through COVID, all the stuff, and yeah, and then Carney, he just came along out of nowhere, and nobody knew who he was. He's never been in Canada for decades, and then I knew right away they were just going to install that guy, like because even in the Liberal leadership races after Trudeau resigned, because thanks to Trump calling him the governor, it was awesome, and the Conservatives signed up to the Liberal Party en masse on X, like it was a huge movement saying because you could sign up for free and you could vote the next person. And they tried to vote in these lower, and they were making these lower tiered liberals that were running for leadership that were outside of the WF stuff winning, and then the liberals came along and disqualified them one by one by one because I said right away they're going to just install Carney, like it's a no brainer, right? So, and then yeah, so long story short, Carney's our prime minister, but I honestly think he's been 100% installed by the powers that be in Europe, and that's just where we're at. And
Okay.
so Trump's pointing out there's a huge problem with the fentanyl border when he first, like about a year ago when he got elected, and that was like the signal. There's a very good reporter, the Canadian reporter Sam something, I can't remember his last name. He'll come to me, and he talks about it all the time. He's on X, and he's actually lives in the States now because for protection because they've tried to take him out, and but he talks about and has awesome intel on all that, the fentanyl and the cartels and all the
Okay.
laundering that goes on in Canada. Like Canada is basically like a proxy state, just like Ukraine was and Iran was, and now it is. It's just the thing is it's right in the Western Hemisphere, so it ain't gonna. It's not gonna. Trump won't tolerate it, which is amazing. And that's why I just don't even give a shit about it. I just go about my day and stack sats and do all the things to exit the system because at the end of the day, it's politics, and you know, and
Yep.
if you just get mad at people for being retarded, and I always be my own retard and stack sats. So that's what I do. But yeah,
Hell
it's
yeah.
it's it's not worth it to me. I don't even get excited because like I'm ungovernable after COVID. I didn't comply to any of that shit and became a second class citizen. So I have zero respect for the government and what they or some asshole in a suit can tell me how I have to live. I just don't do it.
Yep.
So,
Beautiful.
and
Yeah.
Love
yeah,
it.
man.
Awesome.
So, and especially a guy with socks like Trudeau and faggoty hairdo like he has. So yeah,
Yeah. Fuck it. Fuck that guy. All right. So
so,
Adam, did you what you kind of actually wanted to bring up that topic? Anything that kind of
Yeah,
stood out to
well,
you?
so I want to bring up kind of Meta's question. Meta's question before we started recording was, who is the king? Like, who is the king? Like, who the fuck is this guy, really? I mean, like, what fucking army is this motherfucker wielding all this power and being able to protect all these territories? What fucking power, for real? And it seems to be being shown that they are running the trade routes. They've been running the trade routes. This is how
Mm-hmm.
they're funding themselves. This is how they're able to like build policy. And this is all coming to light, which is really interesting. I mean, Meta, to your point, I want to hand it over to you. I mean, pointing out the fact that this seems to be an exposure operation. It's letting the public know this is the way this fucking shit's been ran. And really, we're going into an era of power projection. I don't give a fuck
yep,
about what you had a
Yep.
thousand years ago. Go fuck yourself.
Yep.
yeah,
I'll tie it into a conversation I just had actually earlier today because a couple of things have kind of poked up, and I promise I'll tie it all together. but I saw a story a few months back about it was a divorce case, and the man had been accused of buying and stashing Bitcoin. Like the wife suspected that that he had been, accumulating Bitcoin, and that she, wanted some of that was theirs. Now you can get into the whole like what's wrong with the state being involved in marriages and that whole concept and how broken it is. But there's a point where, and then somebody else brought up there I saw a tweet, and I don't think it or an X post. I don't know that it's actually happened, but I think it's the Netherlands. They're proposing a 36% uh, unrealized cap gains tax, and we've seen rumors of these unrealized cap gains taxes. But when you start to look at it through the lens of Bitcoin, you start to realize like, what do you, how do you even know what if somebody has access, right? Because if we're just talking about actually holding Bitcoin and self custody, what is that? You all know what it means, but the greater public doesn't really know that, doesn't understand that concept yet. And that gets back into the power projection aspect, because there's nothing like that on Earth when it comes to property. There is no other thing that exists conceptually that can be held. People always talk about, in fact, one of somebody I respect quite a bit, uh, and I've been talking to her about Bitcoin for years, and she's dabbled in it, the ETFs a little bit, but she's a gold bug, and she always brings up gold.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I need something I can hold in my hand. And the funny thing about that mentality is if you can hold it in your hand, then so can somebody else.
Right.
It's a bug, not a feature. And back to the Bitcoin point, is that all you need to know is your private keys. And nobody can prove whether or not you know them until we get to the point where you have technology can literally read your mind. And I don't know if that's possible or not. But the point is you're going to have a hard time reconciling our existing system and all of the proof of stake bullshit that happens, and the collision of, yeah, this is something you can't project physical power, or yeah, you can threaten somebody, you can lock them up, right? You can do all those things, but at the end of the day, you're there's nothing that can help you take it,
Yes.
right? Unless it's given to you, or somebody didn't manage their keys properly or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't even prove that they still have access to it, even if, for example, somebody said, yeah, it says here that you just bought Bitcoin and sent it to this address a week ago, so yeah, well, I don't have access to it right now.
Yeah, exactly. The
Uh,
boating accident.
right, the boating accident, right? But the deeper meaning there is very profound, because it comes back to power projection. It comes
Mm-hmm.
back to this idea that um, you know what makes a king, right?
Yeah.
What elevates that title? What elevates you? It's because you have the ability to project physical kinetic power. And
Mm-hmm.
so I
Well,
think
the
that,
interest. Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry, Meta. Well,
Well, just
I
to
just
tie
want
back to
to
that, go ahead.
just add that so they had power projection when they obtained um, these assets, right? When they took over these trade routes, like they had power projection to do this at that time. Now it's just been like, okay, this is the status quo. We don't really even need to protect it from a military standpoint because we've been using proxy states to do it for us. Well, I think the only weapon they have left right now is not only their position that's funding them, but also the public perception piece here. Because I mean, we're fighting in our own countries, and Ryan, to your point, with the East, it's just completely left. I mean, completely left, completely liberal, thinking in the terms of, well, it's always been the crown. It's always been that way. Always should be that way, and no one really wants to change their mindset. And from a, a pomp and circumstance perspective, the crown seems so rational. They seem so intelligent. They seem so disarming, like they're for the people, yada yada yada. So I mean, people, unfortunately, that people en masse, unfortunately, believe that narrative. They believe that these people are the moral high ground. They are the epitome of what society should be striving for. So the biggest challenge here seems to be to unlock these minds, to let them see a different side of this, that they've never seen before so that they can actually make an informed decision. And that's to your point, Meta, that it does seem to be like an exposure operation on all fronts, and it's not just the United States.
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to be perceived like that all at once, but yeah, I do think
No.
it's de-domestication, if that's the right term. But there's a video posted yesterday in the rug pull channel, and it's this I think it's an account on Instagram, and it was basically the Eyes Wide Shut character, and it shows like,
Yeah.
Trump, and he's like the fat Caesar. Did you guys watch that?
I didn't
It
see
was
that. No.
okay. I'll share it. I'll share it after this. But the reason I bring it up is because it has elements in it that are it showcases us that, if you want to really understand what's going on. I don't want to get into a bunch of topics here that I don't know as much about, but I talk to a lot of different people. I'd say I've got a person close to me who really has taken a deep dive into the sort of mind control cult aspect, right? The Church of Scientology, all these things, and the reason that's important is because those techniques are being used at a massive scale on everybody. The entire, some people even wrote the Prussian school system into it, the bell ringing. There's a lot of these things. There's layers of uh, sort of let's call it a thought paradigm that exists in almost every person that and maybe even to some degree in you still, in all of us, right? Those things that have been put there that prevent people from, it's basically the things that, have you guys ever seen a mentalist go to work and how they can like get people to like just hand them their wallets?
Yeah.
they're,
Yeah,
they're like asking them
absolutely.
for directions, right? So those things are very real. And we can say about the woke mind virus and this and that, but you can apply the same thing to the MAGA crowd, right? The people that
Very good
actually
point.
worship Trump. And so that is the problem. Okay, it's the fact that that framework of being, if you even want to call it that, and I've tied it back to consciousness, awareness, right? Because at a certain point, when you need enough ego to survive, but really you don't want any more than just enough, right? And then so a lot of this stuff, I started thinking about, like, if there was a military operation to sort of fix the problem, right? You would have to introduce different things at different times, right? There's false scarcity, there's control over the shipping lanes, right? Actual power, energy, essentially, they control that, they strangle it. They've got this, power generation mechanism, the financial system that creates counterfeit energy. They've got all of these mechanisms that are in place, but it's deeper than that because they've got a population of human beings that have been trained to essentially abide by all of these false systems of power. So, you can't just tell somebody, oh, by the way, that old thing of power, like, we're just replacing it with this new one. Because a lot of people, they have to get to the point where they understand that they've been manipulated. They actually have to come to that realization. And so I think that some of the things that are happening here, they feel like they're giving people, they're like helping that that epiphany, I guess, that people need to have. They're helping that kind of show itself more and more. Even all the people talk. Remember, we talked about this. I think we talked about it on one of our conversations. I apologize if I'm crossing it with other conversations I've had, but even the whole Epstein thing, all the attention on the human trafficking subject. Who cares how everybody comes to the same realization? And people that call Trump a pedo, it's like, as long as you're just aware that there are pedophiles that are being blackmailed by this unseen force,
100%.
that's what matters, right? That the system. And then when you start talking about voting, this goes back to my earlier point about holding these two completely incongruent ideas in your head. Like, who gives a shit about the midterms if the blackmail operation is working, right? Because even then, if you did vote for the person, there's no guarantee that that person isn't being blackmailed. So the voting is fundamentally flawed,
Mm.
and it all comes back to that. So I think all of these things, right? I think this is just part of that bigger picture. And again, if we're led to believe, I'm hearing rumors. In fact, there was an interesting interview with Tom. What's his name? Is it Tom
Luongo?
DeLongo? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure what to make of. Like, I think he's got some interesting ideas. I do think he's onto some things, but there's a lot of rewiring going on, because it may be that the Strait of Hormuz was always strategic in allowing them to strangle a very large percentage of the world's energy and keep people sort of at bay, keep the people that were aware of what was going on. And it comes back to the So you got the financial aspect and you got the energy aspect, and that is what is being sort of rewired in front of everybody, and that what it'll take for the average person to understand that that's actually a good thing is when we're in a future where oil is literally pennies in
Yeah,
maybe even
that's
today's
right.
dollars,
That's
right?
exactly right. Once
Right.
once once they start seeing their grocery bill going down, because this also leads into the ground beef or the meat packers monopoly over meat processing in the United States was like 4 companies, 2 of them foreign owned, that manage all of our beef processing, that the administration is also going after. But when they see energy start dropping to a nominal portion of their budget, that's when these people give a shit. Other than
Hmm.
that, and it's not like Trump doesn't know this shit. Of course he knows this shit. Like, it's the economy, stupid, right? That's all it is. So you're right, and maybe he feels like he's got enough runway right now, from a public perception point, because the public also are like fucking goldfish. They have a very short term memory. So
Yeah.
as soon as shit like starts feeling better for them, they're gonna be like, well, fuck, I don't know, things seem to be doing great, even though it fucking sucked for 6 months prior to it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they'll
It's
forget
just
all
like,
about it.
yeah, just give them 2 weeks, they'll be fine.
Yep.
What trips me out is how you guys had 4 years of Biden, and just the best thing about Biden was watching the clips of that fucking retard. But I mean, I miss those, I do. But you had 4 years of the worst policy you've ever like sort of witnessed, like slapping you in the face, and then you get Trump in, and then you got all these people now complaining about Trump. Is like, well, what are you going to do? Go vote back for those people that you just had for? Like, come on, man! Like,
Well,
Yeah, like,
things are
well,
happening and
Biden
moving. Like, you're seriously complaining about this shit? Like,
Biden
oh,
was
you
our
haven't got
guy,
the
man.
Epstein files
Yeah.
fast enough. Like, give me a break, man. Like, this is crazy. Yeah.
Biden was our guy. Like don't forget all the little head nods. I
Laser
mean, here's the
eyes.
thing, right?
Yeah.
It's funny to because again, I'm not saying I know this, but there's hey, Krash, can you play this the clip I just sent you to Frogs and Friends? Can you pull that clip up? You can play it right in Telegram.
Okay.
It's from Devolution Power Hour, but it's important because they play a clip of Trump saying just as a response to what you just said, Adam, when you said Trump knows. Just listen to what he says and really think about how this affects everything that's been going on. And this was before the last election.
Think about this. We are reading the counterterrorism strategy document.
Yep.
And he has now on multiple occasions called out the intelligence community as being one of the problems with terror in this country. And I play this clip almost every show, but it's such a good clip. I'm going to play it again. Take a listen to this.
Don't forget, this persecution is being done by the same weaponized agencies that for 7 years have been running illegal psychological warfare campaigns against the American people.
So I like the terminology has been actively weaponized by its leadership. Now, of course, in this context and in the clip you played, he's talking about psychological operations. We know in this community that info war is real warfare. Even if it's not kinetic, it's below the threshold of kinetic warfare. But in my aside about Mexico and the cartels, if you go down any of those rabbit holes into the literal formation of the kinetic cartels, it was literally, not figuratively, our intelligence community that set them up, trained them, and actively aided them.
Yeah, this is so good. I'm just reading this and thinking of all the bullshit the intelligence community has put us through. And to me, I like when you look at the national security strategy, that was Trump putting a target on the globalists and our traditional allies who've been fucking us over for years. Yeah, you guys aren't really our friends. We're going to call it like we see it. You guys are our enemies. And we are seeing a multipolar shift like you keep talking about. Well, this national counterterrorism strategy is doing the same thing and calling out another enemy at home that people don't traditionally look at as like, the counterterrorism. They're going to point out the intelligence community as being the enemy here, as being basically state terror actor. Like this is so cool. And there's a couple other, the more we go through this, I'm getting just more excited. I feel so seen right now.
Yeah, dude. It's insane. And yeah, I remember that vividly, him talking
Yep.
about that, because that really seared in my brain. He's literally telling you that you are under a psychological operation in your own country Like you have an enemy broadcast within your own country trying to help you destroy your own country because you're a useful fucking idiot.
Mhm.
And then we set up a counter fucking psyop operation to beat your stupid fucking psyop operation. Like, fuck, dude. And he told that directly to the fucking public. And of course,
Yep.
it goes over their fucking heads.
And you notice that one of the reasons I think that was such a profound clip was, none of the talking heads, none of the Mockingbird contingent even commented on it.
No way. That just went
Yep, same.
out to the
It's got
airways
that.
and gone. Yeah.
It's got the same kind of. It's got the same essence of the real Q posts, right? Not the QAnon version cutout that they talk about. The actual intelligence that's baked into it. So anyway, the back to the grander point, when you look at all the stuff that's happening and you hear that comment, and then of course those guys were talking about something, also very related but very different, right? Because it's what we think of as the world, right? People think, oh, these terrorists, these extremists, these Islamists, and all this stuff. It's like they don't realize where radical Islam, how it was put into motion, what its purpose has always been, and then of course the fact that the Al Qaeda thing, and even that clip of Barry talking about trading Al Qaeda forces. You see little bits and pieces of this poking through, and it comes back to, okay, well, yeah, because you think, well, he's the king of the world, right? The U.S. president's the king of the world. It's like, about that, right? Like who really runs this stuff? And then you end up back at the same sort of likely cast of characters, right, or entities. The City of London and then the Vatican, the power structure, right? So in DC, so the thing about like the narrative with Iran and the sort of the things going on with even there's even the relationship in Canada with what they're talking about as far as the sovereign, because there's people that think, and I think this is an interesting thing, the whole sword dance, and that when Trump walked in front of the Queen, that was some sort of symbolic gesture. Have you guys ever heard that?
Oh yeah.
And so one of the things I'm this is not my idea, but somebody, I think it might even have been Burning Bright, it might have been Chris Paul, it might have been one of those guys or somebody in that group, suggested maybe Trump is actually the king of the world. And I know it sounds like funny. It's funny to me because it's like, this is a guy that shaved Vince McMahon's head in the middle of a ring at a WWE event. So it would be kind of awesome. I think it's kind of the reality we deserve. But what if that doesn't mean anything? What if it just means something in their sort of proof of stake bullshit network, right? That you can hold this title and literally that means you can be like, yeah, your government's gone. Why? Because if not, I'll fucking kill you. I'll blow you up.
Yeah, dude. Well, this goes right back to power projection. Exactly. So the United States has a monopoly on fucking power projection, number one. And we're fucking using it finally.
Yeah.
We're actually using it for the United States finally. And you can see
and look how effective it is when
that shit.
Look how effective it is when it's actually used properly.
Right. Fucking insane.
Unbelievable. Instead of just dragging out some war and sending out planes like they did in Vietnam with one bomb on them just to make it look good, no, this is effectiveness. And but Trump's one of Trump's superpowers. You're just talking about walking in front of the Queen there. I mean, he makes himself look so stupid, but that's his art of war, man. Like people underestimate that guy every time. And when you bet against him, you fucking lose. And I just laugh. I laugh at everybody that bets against him because every time. I mean, that guy's so far ahead of everybody, with his autism and everything and whatever. It's just, but it's great. Like, it's just, I love it when people bet against him and lose because I mean, how can you lose for so long and feel good about yourself? That's why they hate themselves and everything else.
Yeah.
It's the smug Pepe energy, man.
Right.
Yeah. Smug Pepe. Dank stuff. Yeah.
Meta, a couple points to what you brought up here the last couple minutes is first, when the King Charles came over last week, and it's so crazy and how stupid the bad retarded everyone is that when he was in front of Congress, they all clapped for him. And weren't they just doing no Kings protests like the week before?
I'm telling you, man.
Like it doesn't get much more bad retarded than that. Quite honestly,
it's a meme. It's literally like a living meme. They did it for us, and I mean, I was cracking up. I'm sure you guys were laughing too. And then somebody just called out, said the obvious, like, hey, this is the no Kings crowd. And it's like, yeah, That's beautiful. Like,
Yeah, it's just
fucking
like,
touch it. It's perfect.
Yep.
well,
Yeah.
and that's the beauty of Trump too, right? Like the King visit to the United States was planned so long ago. He just uses this shit to fucking troll the public. Like, let's just set up this fucking perfect meme. And not only that, he has a fucking what is it? The Revolutionary
Yes!
Guard. Like,
Yeah.
fucking dude. Oh man,
It's so funny because like I feel like if you're not, I feel like people didn't even comment on that really. Although some people did, right? Obviously, people that are looking at it through this lens of like are laughing at it because it's like, dude, like imagine that was planned. That had like it, and the thing was is like I think it was like a public humiliation exercise or something. I don't know, but whatever it was, it cracked me up. I was laughing and I thought like, holy shit, man, this is like. And that, dude, it just it mostly went unnoticed, and I just think like in the mainstream, it didn't get I think the way, and I think in retrospect, people will look back at that and it'll be hilarious,
Oh
right? Like,
yeah, it'll be a
and
big
100%.
flag. Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
Uh,
for us, it was obviously funny in real time, but it's takes a little
Yeah.
bit of time to get
Dude,
there.
just think about the fucking Pepe card for that one. Just like the Revolutionary Guard with the king in front, like
Yeah.
some kind of diplomatic shit, like go fuck yourself.
So and
Hypocrisy has no bounds or no bottom with the left. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And then so another point, Meta, is to your like counterinsurgency point. That when G Money came out and told us, or like put the two together, the term Bitcoin to bring it back into Bitcoin
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
Bit is informational, and coin is short for counterinsurgency. I don't know how much
Dude.
that can be. Like,
Dude. And this
Well,
is a perfect segue
what does the
back to
bit
power
represent?
projection.
Yeah, and exactly, what does the bit represent? Energy, right?
yeah,
Which is power, essentially.
That's right.
informational energy, and yeah,
Yep.
definitely. God, yeah. So and that I had to bring out. Also, too, my favorite quote when Michael Saylor was talking to Tucker Carlson like what 4 years ago now, and he was like, Tucker, Bitcoin, okay, okay, you have gold, you have $1 trillion in gold right here. I could put a gun to your head, shoot it, and take your gold. But if you have Bitcoin, I can shoot you in the head still, but I'm not taking your Bitcoin. And like that, it can't get much more simpler than that as well. So
Yeah, there's a deeper thing. I think I brought it up on this call before there, but Bitcoin has this unique characteristic that there is nothing else in our reality,
no other property.
our realm of awareness where it can exist in multiple dimensions, right? There's this. I almost picture this sort of like a sphere of understanding or comprehension. So it exists at the normie layer. You could say that's at the very outside, right? It's kind of they live in the narrative layer, right? Mm-hmm. They live in the headlines and the roller coaster of up and down. They're the kind of people that would make signs to go to a protest, right? Now, I'm not saying that I'm not the person. I'm not the type that would personally protest. I think it's kind of like yelling angrily into the air is not gonna do anything. And I think the whole idea of that is just to kind of like, it's like cute, right? Like, go ahead, block traffic, see what that gets you. Mm-hmm. But that's where it lives there. But then it also lives layers below that. It lives in the financial world it exists, and then it exists as a in the energy infrastructure, and exists as, again, this sort of power projection is one aspect of it, but it's like, the Iran, G brought this up and he said it perfectly. It's like, why would we be, friendly to this technology that Iran literally uses to circumvent sanctions? How does that make any sense?
Yeah, dude.
G said it, and it's perfectly.
Yeah, dude.
It doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't we try to like take out the Bitcoin network, attack it? We have some pretty immense, I'd imagine, ability to project power from a cyber perspective. So the point is that it sort of like intersects all of these different levels of comprehension, all the way to the point where you could even get spiritual with it, and go beyond that, because it has the principles of thermodynamic compliance, which essentially is truth, right? So it's this thing that exists all throughout and beyond most people's comprehension of just anything that exists. And so that is a very unique, and that's why it comes back to this idea that it shows up and at the time right before AI, even though AI had to have existed before and maybe even had some kind of a role in Bitcoin's creation, possibly, I don't know. But the infrastructure that has been built out and the idea of Bitcoin mining and all of that, and now we're starting to see this relationship that seems kind of, I think by the time it maybe already is obvious to everybody on this call, but it's getting to the point now where like Jordy Visser, people like that probably are not trusting the plan.
Yeah, meta. It's getting to the point where Robinhood is putting it in their Bitcoin digest for investors.
Yes.
Hey, U.S. Department of War is testing Bitcoin for power projection. Like, what the fuck? Like, it blew my mind seeing that shit. It's like, okay, they're picking up the signal. At least the people that put their money where their mouth is, they're picking up the signals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, they're testing out power projection. I mean, you might as well have a headline that says we're testing out Patriot missiles and Scud bunker busters. You know what I mean? And so they're basically telling you that they're testing out weapons, right? So that's the way I feel, anyway. So
the fucking crazy thing is exactly what he says: enabling it and defeating it. They're trying to figure out how to fucking defeat it, and they're probably realizing you can't defeat it, so you have to enable it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of leads to what I want to show here. We're going to go to the next topic here with Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary, last week in front of Congress, I believe it was, and kind of telling his piece and thoughts on Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to just come out front here and say that before I play a clip. I remember Pete Hegseth was a fan of Bitcoin multiple years ago, like him coming out and defending it. So we'll kind of touch on that on the other side here of this clip.
Over the past decade, Bitcoin has evolved from a fringe asset into a matter of national security. Iran has demanded Bitcoin as a toll for transit through the Strait of Hormuz. North Korean cyber actors have leveraged it in ransomware campaigns, and China is believed to be stockpiling substantial holdings as part of a strategic reserve. Just last week, Indo-PACOM Commander Admiral Paparo stated that Bitcoin has direct implications for power projection, and he noted that Indo-PACOM is operating a node on the Bitcoin network in furtherance of that mission. Secretary, do you share the opinion that Bitcoin is a tool to project power, and are there any department-wide initiatives to ensure the U.S. secures a strategic advantage in Bitcoin and combats China's digital authoritarianism?
I guess my short answer would be yes and yes. Long an enthusiast of Bitcoin and crypto potential, and a lot of the things we're doing, enabling it or defeating it, are classified efforts that are ongoing inside our department, which do provide us a lot of leverage in a lot of different scenarios.
You want to fight? You'll never take my Bitcoin. Like, share, subscribe to Frogs and Friends.
In your fucking face. And you know what I love about how every one of Trump's administrative officials, they always say Bitcoin and crypto.
Exactly what I was just going to say. Yeah. 100%.
Natural selection.
Aside right now because they can't just project all their moves, right? So Bitcoin and crypto, the crypto muddies the whole. But people on Signal know exactly what he's talking about. So
yeah,
100%. and that goes to also the terminology of enabling it and defeating it. Okay, so like bears are like, oh yeah, they're gonna fuck Bitcoin up, or they're gonna kill it or whatever. And obviously,
that's why I just don't get these XRP retards. Like they're not talking like, yeah, we're using XRP and crypto. Like nobody ever says anything but Bitcoin and crypto. Like. Yeah. How much more do you need to know?
Ryan, to your point, who the fuck posted it was the co-creator of XRP fucking holdings?
I just pull it up. Hey, Krash.
Yeah.
Krash, pull up, go to Telegram and pull up. Adam just it's so funny how you can I could predict where this conversation was going, so I immediately rushed to get this.
Yeah, what the fuck?
This is
he looks like a fucking XRPer.
Yeah.
The Schwartz. What does that tell you?
Yeah, I don't like dunking on. I don't want to punch down, because I feel bad whenever people go on about XRP. because it really it is. It's just a level of understanding, and you see it all the time with people that, there's all these different layers of comprehension of what Bitcoin is, and as you go deeper and deeper into understanding what it is, and then you start to get to the point where it's like G says, digital 1776, like what that even means. A lot of people, they kind of scoff at it because it's like funny because they just think G's, like what's this idiot talking about? They don't realize like
Just a catchphrase,
he knows more than you. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He just understands it deeper than you do. And you think he's dumb. And that's the funny part about it, is because it kind of almost forces, like I will say that we talk about ego a lot, that Bitcoin as a component, as I've understood it deeper, it has helped me manage that ego to a point where it's more manageable. And now it's made me a better person. Like I'm much more willing to be wrong about things, like open-minded. So there's elements of that baked into the comprehension of it. But the XRP crowd, I've had these guys make appeals to authority and talk about ISO certification and Basel. I'm like,
that's right.
You have
what
no
is an
idea.
ISO certified bro?
They have no idea what you're talking about. So I sent this to a buddy who's got a friend who's like, he's got him to the point where he's half Bitcoin, half XRP. And my buddy sent him this. He goes, dude, you're halfway there. And like he still doesn't get it. And the thing that's what's also so beautiful about it, because again, proof of work it has much deeper meaning than I think a lot of people understand. And study and putting the time in and really listening to other people talk about things and concepts that are kind of like in this genre is really what helps you sort of think through it for yourself. It's like I've used this term, and I don't know if anybody else has used it, so apologies if it's not an original thought. But it's like nobody can learn jiu-jitsu for you. You have to earn the black belt yourself, right? Nobody can like lift weights for you.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get jacked, you have to do the work, and it's got that same principle, that same characteristic.
Yes.
So Meta, to your point. So the ISO certified bros, right? So it seems like the XRP crowd, their understanding of money is the speed of transmittal.
Yes.
That's where their understanding stops. They don't understand the value of money, where it comes from, what it's pegged to. They don't understand that side of it. So they look at Bitcoin and they're like, well, it's too fucking slow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, compared to like analog systems we're in right now, it's still too fucking slow, but it's still orders of magnitude faster. But either way, they're like, no, we got to trim it down to 3 seconds or 30 seconds. They're not understanding the power behind it and what money actually is. And if we can somehow unlock that in their brain, they will really feel fucking stupid that this is not about the speed of transmittal. This is about hard fucking money. Like nobody can fuck with it. Like, and I can't get through. Like I have a brother-in-law that's a fucking XRP retard. Like he went all in at XRP. I tried explaining to him. I'm like, dude, like to have this conversation, we have to understand what money is. It's like, I already fucking know what it is. It's really slow. I'm like, no, dude, that's not what fucking money is, dude. And he won't listen. It's just like, I know it. You're a fucking idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay.
Well, the thing with XRP bros, I find the ones I talk to, they all, I've got like 10,000 coins, and if it just goes to like, they say it's going to go to $10 or $30 or whatever, then I'm like, dude, like it's never gotten over like $3.95 a coin, I don't think. And then if it gets up to $3.50, dump it because you probably paid $2 for it. Take your win and move on to something real. Like that's all I can tell you. But here you are back down to, what did you say, $1.65 or whatever it is. I mean, like this is what it'll do. It's a pump and dump
36
for the last how many years? Like, yeah, $1.36. Yeah, here you go. It's a big pump and dump.
Here is the irony. So this guy sells his fucking XRP stack to buy Bitcoin.
Well,
some of it, but does he understand what Bitcoin is now? Does he understand what money is now? Is the question.
Well, here I'll read you because I asked Grok because I wanted to make sure this was true. Yeah, and so I asked, and it goes into more detail. Let me just get to the snippet here. It says, yeah, it's true. David Schwartz publicly stated he sold his holdings of about 26 million XRP, converting them at least in part to Bitcoin. He once held 26 million. He described not liking having millions of dollars at risk in it. It's just, you can't make this shit up.
Dude, and I think he bought Ripple stock, right? Or he got vested in Ripple stock or something like that, right? With the rest of his money, I think he converted it to Ripple stock, which no one else can do, by the way, unless you're an insider or a creator. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's ultimately what it comes down to, because the question you have to ask is, how did this guy get all of the XRP to begin with? And you know what the answer to that question is? He gave it to himself. And then he sold it to you, dummies. And that's the thing, like, they don't understand that. They don't understand that even Satoshi had to mine Bitcoin. So
great point.
They don't understand that there's a huge chunk of the XRP ledger missing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's another big hole.
I didn't know that. I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, there's a huge chunk of the ledger missing. I'll find the meme or the info on that later for you. It's
I seen that too, Ryan. It was like the first couple months they can't verify the first couple chains.
So all these guys just probably pump their bags and then we're back on.
Change the books. Yeah.
Change the books. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. I don't get it. I mean, we don't get a lot of things in this landscape, so that's nothing.
You're buying XRP, and look at that guy. You're trusting him with your investment. That guy. Who we trusting with Bitcoin? The network.
To your point about punching down, I feel really bad for saying, like, are you fucking retarded trusting this dude? I'll just take it back. Like,
it's natural selection, man.
He just doesn't understand. That's it.
It's natural selection, and literally in real time. That's nature. If that's what you believe and that's what you're going to do, then yes, you will be wrecked. Just like if you think you can fly and jump off a cliff, you're going to get wrecked. There's nothing else we could do for you. If that's what you're going to do, we can't do nothing for you. I don't know.
And all you guys, any of you guys shitcoin before you did your Bitcoin? Yeah.
I never shitcoined.
No,
I had 7,800 XRP at one time, and then I found the BBB channel, and I was like, I just totally clicked with me. I was like, this XRP's gone.
Quietly traded it for Bitcoin.
I did. 100% did, yeah.
Yeah, I only got into crypto because of Q and G. That's how I got into crypto. Like,
shit. That was crazy.
Because, like, I was a big Q-tard, and that was the missing link for me. Bitcoin. And like, G's explaining Bitcoin as the military asset, or like, made by the military, SHA-256, all the different Bitcoin, broken down. Like, there's nothing that's why I get so like loud when I talk about Q-tards and not seeing these parallels here, these connections here. I don't understand. Then again, I come across a lot of Q-tards that never read Q post, so that's a big red flag right from the start. And,
it comes back. Part of it at Krash, and I really do believe that this is why some people aren't able to get there, is it comes back to their ability to actually think for themselves. Yeah. And so a lot of people will stop short, and oftentimes because they put trust in somebody that they thought sounded smart or came off as credible for some reason. They don't do the work themselves, and that is really why I think a lot of those people fall short. Or because then you dig in deeper. I've never heard somebody else said this. Again, I always do this because I can't remember all the points I hear this information, but they basically said they've never come across somebody that has studied Bitcoin, got to the point where they can actually say they understand it, comprehend it even, and then walked away from it. Because all the arguments you ever hear, they're always the same, right? They've stopped at some level, but they have not gone all the way in their comprehension of it. So they're making the quantum FUD argument, or they're making the can't hold it in my hand argument, or they're, worse, there's a combination of those things, i.e. Peter Schiff or whatever, which is funny because Peter Schiff, he holds Bitcoin. So he's still speculating.
In a wallet, in a wallet of all things too. Yeah.
And
you
he
think
doesn't
Peter
have
Schiff
to
is on
understand
our team? Do you think Peter Schiff is just a perpetual fucking troll?
It's hard not to look at him as a cartoon character, isn't it? I don't know. I honestly have no idea, because he's either incredibly good at it or he's just that retarded, and it's like I don't know how to reconcile those two things. There's such extreme differences. Like,
Are you saying he's a mini version of Trump?
I mean, dude, that's the I don't know, man. It's really hard to say who's potentially an operator, and if there are even are operators.
Hmm.
I mean, I think they are. I think there are,
Yeah, it's just
like
how many.
yeah, and to what degree? Like, I think some characters, like you take a Joe Kent, there's something very interesting about him. Tulsi Gabbard's another one
Michael
because I looked
Saylor.
at Saylor's another one, right? Because he's got a really interesting background, but he's played that role of CEO of a software company. And the question is how extensive is the op, and or is this just all some big divine plan, or is what we're seeing the sort of like this there's something bigger than all of us right at play here, and it just looks like it's
Yeah,
an
dude.
operation,
Organic.
right?
Yeah.
That is the
Yeah.
question. Is this a divine plan playing out, or is this a coordinated
There's too many
effort?
there's too many coincidences,
Yeah.
mathematically impossible, I think. And that just goes back to building the conviction even more so than just the characteristics of Bitcoin itself. Like it's all of this other stuff too that helps make the conviction, at least for me, invincible. You know,
And we've literally been told by the fourth at least, not the eighth. The eighth doesn't really promote the idea of a psy war like the fourth does. That the Ghost Army, the same division
yeah,
or group that literally made an inflatable tank battalion to redirect Nazi forces so they could invade the beaches, Omaha Beach, like that. What would that look like in a psy war? Right? Is it beyond?
I think we're
Right? Would
seeing
it
it.
be? Is it beyond the pale that would be? What
yeah.
we're actually witnessing here. And I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like I like to kind of sober myself up and go back sometimes and watch even did I ever talk to you guys? Did I ever bring this up about even the score, the music that they play during the first Ghost, for PSYOP group video?
Was it
The,
from that
the
movie,
it
Some of All
wasn't.
Fears?
No, no, no. Some of All
Okay,
Fears is Pavarotti. I can't. Nisa
Dorma.
Dorma.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, no. This was Last Goodbye, and the piece of music, if you look into it, it's very interesting because it sounds like it's the quality of what you would see in a film. You could probably pull it up and play it, Crash, if you wanted to. Just not to get off on that tangent because that's a whole. We could probably have an entire discussion around the Ghost Army and what's going on there and you know the uh, the ties to certain characters in the narrative layer, but the music for me it struck me because like I sent it to somebody who's a complete normie, and they said their response was, or something I used the other day was like, dude, what is that? Is that a it made me want to run through a wall. Like I got goosebumps.
hmm
And I don't think that is by accident. I think that the music can be and has always like the marching, right? The drummer, like the kind of patriotic uh
the drum roll and such,
drum roll, right? There are, and then you had like the Vikings, like the chanting and the
horns.
hoary thing, all of it. There's something there that I think it's very engineered. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like it like they like there's a way that you can motivate. Uh,
instinctual too. Yeah,
yes, yes, deeper in it, and I don't think that's something you should ignore. I think that there's a crafting there, and it's funny because I actually early on that thing's a few years old now. One of my friends sent it to somebody that they know that does a lot of video work and looked at the kind of production quality of it, and he's like, "Man, what is this?" And he was like, "This is like this is some high level shit, man." It's just like, yeah, what is that? Like, why is it so good? I don't know. I think there's a deeper thing happening there.
yeah, yeah. Good stuff. I agree with you. Music can change anything, mood of anything, your thinking. I mean, just even with the Hertz itself, changing your brain waves and such. God, yeah, but yeah, and that's something we might have to bring G and Luke on to really
Yeah.
to really reinforce uh the ghost theory. I'm
Well,
I'm all for that.
Well, I think it affects a lot of the things we talk about, even though I know we kind of took more of the financial perspective on things and kind of watching the markets. And of course, the news drives the markets, or at least the narrative layer. And we're starting to see all of these things converge, whether we want them to or not. So these topics are sort of related no matter what. So it seems appropriate that we can kind of move around in that kind of space, and really it all makes sense
Yes.
in connection.
Yep. All right. So speaking of that, let's kind of get to another elephant in the room this week, I guess. Let's talk about a little bit about MSTR or strategies earning calls. So I have a couple clips here I'll show you guys from the earning call that are quite important. Just great. Kind of like to Meta's point with how music can make you run through a wall. Some of these clips are going to make you run through a wall if you're a strategy investor and a believer. So first one here.
And and the more tools we have at our disposal, I think the better it is for the equity investors. We'll probably sell some Bitcoin to fund a dividend just to inoculate the market, just to send the message that we did it. Look, the company's fine, the Bitcoin's fine, the industry's fine, the world didn't come to an end. And if you're a short seller and your thesis is the company's got to sell equity in order to fund the dividends, I would like nothing better than to, rip your wings off. But the bottom line is, if Bitcoin, if the macro environment turns risk on and expands and Bitcoin rallies, our equity rallies, it's go time, we're going to go, and we're going to go with the credit. Like, we're going to use the credit. Make no mistake about it. We want to see the MNAV, the equity is undervalued. We want to see the MNAV expand to 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And nothing would make me happier than to rip the faces off of all the skeptics and the shorts and drive the equity to the moon.
Yeah, it's amazing how few people understood really what he said is so impactful.
Oh God, yeah.
He's ready. He's ready to go to war, bro.
Yeah,
let's
go.
go.
That was basically a translation of "prepare for battle," everybody.
That's right.
Especially if you're a short. So, the biggest thing I would say for me is that in those clips anyway, and from the call, is that they spent an hour plus. Well, the earnings call was 2 hours and like 15 minutes long. Yeah. They spent over an hour of different examples and theories and ways that they're going to sell some Bitcoin when it's advantageous to the company to buy more Bitcoin, which sounds like an oxymoron. But the way how the game works is a little bit like how even Saylor said. Think of us a little bit like a real estate developer here at this point in time. And you don't tell a real estate developer that selling one of their properties is a bad move when selling that one property gets them 10 more, once it appreciated. They don't hold all their properties, forever. Yeah.
Join the transition transmission. Like, share, and subscribe to Frogs and Friends.
So guys, anything we could go like 3 different ways here with this earnings call, but you guys want to start with I guess the biggest thing is selling Bitcoin. Does that shock you? Does that hurt you?
No.
Fuck no, dude.
I said this. I use this analogy. It's very crude. Before you guys joined the call, I was just talking to Krash. If I've completely shifted over to a Bitcoin standard and I don't have any dollars, okay, and I don't have a portfolio and I don't have an income portfolio or anything like that, I just have Bitcoin, and I run out of toilet paper, am I not going to buy toilet paper? Right? Like I need to wipe my ass. I know that's crude, but it's silly to think that like the Bitcoin is for everybody, including entities, and it can at any point be converted back to dollars, right? The energy can be transmuted into shit fiat, and it can be used to pay fiat denominated obligations. Mm-hmm. And that's all the distributions for STRC are. So now what people aren't thinking, because they just think in such simple terms, unfortunately, is he's selling Bitcoin. Well, how much is he selling? Is he selling just enough to cover the payment? Or is he selling all of it into dollars and then he's going to start buying it again. By the way, both of those things would probably work. I'm not saying he should do that, but I'm just saying it probably would work because that's $60 billion. The obligations, I mean, everybody was so relieved when they announced they had the $2 billion or whatever it is, two and change for the next couple of years of distributions. But people don't look at the Bitcoin on the balance sheet as something they can liquidate as needed. Like, what good is it then?
Yeah.
Well, so Meta, that is the inoculation, right?
Yes.
The first time he sells, you know, what, 1,500 Bitcoin or whatever to pay a dividend, or 4,000 Bitcoin, whatever it is. He's inoculating the market and saying, like, look, bro, we have all these fucking tools in our tool belt right here. He went through maybe 30 different fucking scenarios of how they could raise money to buy Bitcoin and then better the Bitcoin per share price.
Yeah.
Chief among them is they're sitting on what, $2.8 billion in tax rebates because of their perpetual fucking buys. And the way the tax law is written is what all their high buys can be sold at a lower price because he doesn't give a fuck about fiat. All he gives a shit about is being able to say, hey, now I can capture all that fucking tax. Like, I don't have this tax liability, which
And
then goes to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's like, bro.
Exactly.
And I hate, I shouldn't say I hate. I have a unnatural dislike for Dark Side for some reason, because I think him and that dumb fucker Mandel, I think, started the whole goddamn short selling and MicroStrategy. No one can convince me otherwise, and that's my ego talking. Probably, maybe not, but
what if Mandel's an operator, man?
He could be, but like this tweet from fucking Dark Side was, "Oh, if he sells Bitcoin, I'm buying MicroStrategy." He's like, that means the flywheel is complete. And I'm like, you fucking asshole.
You know, in Dark's defense,
like, you had to have that just to fucking, you know, pull your fucking shorts.
In Dark's defense, I will say this. Dark did mention that months ago, that if he would actually just commit to doing that. And the thing is like, whether or not this was organic or Saylor just changed his mind or whatever, however it came about, I always thought the same thing. I always thought, like, it, you know, because this is the understanding we have here. We're still playing the fiat game. Okay. So as long as we're playing the fiat game and things are denominated in dollars, and it makes sense to have that as an asset or a resource that you can sell off accordingly. Like, it's no different than if in a private setting, right? If some people sold some Bitcoin to buy Misty. Right? Why did they do that? Well, we know why, right? Everybody was thinking, well, I don't really know how or when to sell. I don't really like the stress of that. Like, oh, are we at the top? I'm going to time it, right? Or I'm going to sell above my cost basis, or all the nonsense. It's all fiat anyway. Mm-hmm. So the fact that there is an operating company doing it, but it's not even just that they can pay the distributions. They could also buy back common. Yeah. And what does that do for anybody that's holding shares? It makes it more.
Boy, if he does that, and he even said he might even just use Stretch to pay off the freaking convertibles. Yeah, and have zero debt.
And that's kind of where we see strategies possibly start moving like a Strive then, because it's like Strive only has 1% debt, and I think Mstr has 10% debt. Once that shit gets paid down, he might not be able to pay it off all this year, Saylor, but at least paying a good amount of it down, if that's the route that they end up going, that's gonna make that shit so much more volatile. Man. It's gonna move even crazier.
It also, because, and you heard him say it, it also makes it significantly more risky for people to short it to any great degree.
Yes.
You're basically being told, like, hey man, I might break your nose. It could happen at any moment.
Yeah.
I might just pop you straight in the nose.
I mean, yeah, dude, I don't think anybody expected him to say I could sell Bitcoin and talk about it for 60 minutes on his earning call. I don't think anybody expected him to say that.
Now, on previous earning calls and such throughout like the past year, they have mentioned in passing, to sell Bitcoin if we need to. But nothing like we seen last night.
Nothing like, here's how it would work.
Yes, and 10
here's
different
why
examples.
We would do it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's just, to your point of the short selling, I love when Michael was like, we're just going to sell a little bit of Bitcoin here just to show you dumb fucks that it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter
that's
because
right.
to Punter Jeff's point the other night, he said, so this week Mstr did not buy any Bitcoin. So this is a good week to kind of gauge this. The Bitcoin and IBIT market still moved like $330 billion in one day.
Without him.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like that, and if he would sell whatever that example was, like what, however much Bitcoin was in Saylor's example, that's a drop in the bucket. So like that is not going to move. Bitcoin's not going to go down 30 grand because of that. You know, like
I think the analogy was a teaspoon out of Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
And how much is he buying that month?
Well, and that's the thing. That's where we could see a Nakamoto way sooner than we were expecting. You know, could that be July now? Could that be July? Are we bringing
Krash?
Yeah.
Krash, I want to bring this up. Like, so this is something I'm just kind of tracking a little bit. Is Stretch has not hit par yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's on its last or longest streak of not getting back to par. So what do you guys think's going on there?
Can I read
please.
this to you? Because
absolutely.
This is another one of those things. It's kind of eerie. I predicted, which just kind of shows that we're kind of in the same wavelength thinking about this stuff. But ironically, it's a Josh Mann post. But let me just read it to you. See, he's responding to somebody. Sina, his early admonitions to never sell your Bitcoin were not informed by the IRS's favorable return of capital treatment for. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one.
Is it?
Damn
is
it!
it this,
he was just.
Is it this one here? He's selling some Stretch to buy MSTR.
No, he was.
Okay.
There was one where he was talking about the fact that we weren't at par, and that there was.
I didn't see that one. Well, I don't see
yeah. I don't. I don't want to go searching for it now. Anyway, but the point is that it's an interesting point, and I don't know why that is, but it could go back to there's obviously selling pressure there somewhere coming from somewhere.
Well, is it this though? Is it exactly this selling Stretch now to buy MicroStrategy? Like they see MicroStrategy as a better return.
Yeah, maybe that is what it is. That's a great point.
And also too, I'll throw out that SATA, Strive's version of Stretch, that's been in the 99s ever since a couple hours after the divvy dip. That really shocked me. I thought we would have had it like one or two more payouts to where like we could arbitrage a good bit of SATA's price back to par. But that really surprised me, man. And it's been sitting there at like 940 to 960 or 99.40 and 99.60 like this past week, and they just paid it out like last week too.
Remember this is true for fiat, right? Realities or fiat based systems. When in a system like ours, it's always advantageous to have as much debt as you can, because over time it will become easier and easier to service the debt.
Right.
It gets cheaper and cheaper, right? Especially if you're holding a non-correlating asset that goes higher as the debasement goes deeper. So this is the truth for any treasury company, right? The same holds up. So I don't think. I mean, I think you can almost start this from any state, and it would work. So I think SATA, for the same reason, is going to be, and I think we're just starting to see the early innings of it, proving that will indeed happen. And that's going to also give people more confidence, right? Which means more capital is going to flow into those instruments, and then immediately into Bitcoin. And then it's like a self-fulfilling. Well, people have already said this, right? It is literally a perpetual energy generation machine.
It's flywheel.
Yep. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just a flywheel when MSTR was doing what they were. The common stock, right? That they were basically buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin was going up in value, and that would drive up the stock price. I thought that was the flywheel. And the SGRC thing. And then we'll sell Bitcoin if we need to, just kind of made it like a complete thing that kind of feeds itself. And that is wild.
I don't know if you guys remember the graphic they showed of basically like a rocket ship and
Yeah.
Bitcoin as the reactor.
Yep.
It's basically like they're saying, okay, well, we built the rocket ship, and here's the thrusters. Now we're working on the reactor, like how we can control the reactor more to squeeze even more out of it. Like that's to me like kind of how I visualized it. But another thing he mentioned in his call is that they're in serious talks with 4 major banks regarding income, and I
Oh,
think it was
income
related to
ETFs.
Stretch.
Income
Yeah, and
ETFs, yeah.
it was related to Stretch. So we maybe what we're seeing is a rotation of speculative, like kind of like what we talked about the last episode, which was using the arbitrage to pay your margin on margin debt if you're purchasing equities using margin, things like that. So I would imagine there's thousands of people, hundreds, tens of thousands of people that are already doing that. But maybe what you're going to see is them flipping, like those types of investors flipping into, no, I'd rather a MicroStrategy position. And now Saylor already has that bridge to the income ETFs that he's working on with banks, to where now they're going to be the basically like kind of like the inside buyers that he needs to just keep that thing printing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're, we talked about that for, obviously the use case for just creating a high yield savings account that's
Right.
backed by Stretch. But, I'm not sure how I feel about the whole, what's the name of CJ Constantino's company, the Bitcoin mortgages? I can't remember. People's Reserve. He just posted something about they are going to be adding the ability for people to use STRC as collateral for Bitcoin mortgages now, which is
Whoa.
really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and I'm not sure how the math is going to break down. He sometimes he's kind of a fast talker and he kind of loses me, but I kind of could see how it would work. Yeah,
That's
so now
crazy
you've
too,
got,
because people could be just holding that stuff with margin.
the point is yeah, you could use it. I don't know if you'll be able to use, because obviously if you're using STRC, then I think it has to be posted somewhere, some type of an escrow or some mechanism, right, that guarantees that it won't be sold. But you could sort of already do that now with Robinhood. If you had enough STRC and you had enough margin available, you could use that margin to then go buy a property, and then you could use the distribution of the STRC to pay down the mortgage, which is not a mortgage, it's a margin loan at that point. So it's kind of like that. And I'm curious to know how this is going to play out. But I guess what I'm starting to see is like even things that are tied back to Bitcoin through, it's kind of I would think of STRC as a Bitcoin proxy.
Meta, you just made me think about the was it the U.S. housing with Bill Pulte, whatever the hell he's the head of the housing HUD or whatever. They just made it so that you can make your mortgages portable.
Yeah,
which is
I'd heard
also
something about
very
that.
interesting. And if this is the case, think about being able to couple those two things together.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's let me read. I'll read this to you. So he's got digital credit equals pristine collateral. Pristine collateral equals a Bitcoin mortgage. Acceptable collateral, STRC and SATA. Buying a $500,000
Wow.
home, post 500,000 of digital credit, earn 11.5%, 4,794 a month, earn 13%, which is SATA, 5,417 a month. The more digital credit you post as collateral, the lower your interest rate will fall. At 33% loan to value, borrow as low as 3 to 6% APR.
Wow.
The mortgage payment would be $43.88, and then 6% APR payment would be $29.98, and the 3% would be $21.08. Lower APR, greater RBOP. Get paid to live in your house and or boost investment property yield. Welcome to the
Unbelievable.
future of finance. Because think about that,
Wow.
right? Let's say the bank was willing to give me a loan to go buy a $500,000 property. What if I said, well, okay, what if you gave me 550,000, 500 or 600,000, and I bought the $500,000 house and $100,000 of Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's right.
And those two things, the note on the house and the Bitcoin, were linked together. And then basically, as long as they own the property, the Bitcoin would be in a multi-sig holding, sort of. And then you're basically getting the security of the Bitcoin CAGR going up faster than the real estate. And the other thing you can do with that, you can go the other direction, right? You could add that to all mortgages after the fact to help really soften the very needed decrease in real estate prices. So you could play, there's a lot of things here that could start.
That's a great point. Yeah,
Yeah.
couple those two so it offsets the price going down on real estate, but your CAGR is going up with Bitcoin.
Although all of this sounds amazing, Frogs N Frens is not financial advice.
Isn't that what what's his face Cardone's doing with his A-list properties? That's exactly what he's doing with it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's mechanically the same thing. It's also what People's Reserve is doing to a degree. The whole idea, right? Obviously, you're getting exposure to the lucrative upside of Bitcoin because you are committing to the amount of time it takes to realize that because like the CAGR, what is the CAGR over the last 10 years? I think I heard somebody just say it was 83%. I had a hard time believing that. I was like, is it really 83% over 10 years if you do the math and you divide it that way? But it's supposed to, even if it's 30%, which I don't know, last year obviously it wasn't great, it was negative, but I'm
You're talking
curious
about for
to see
Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, for Bitcoin.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's that kind of I just want to hit one more point before I jump into the stretch issue. Is that also Saylor said in the earning call that they could sell Bitcoin, sell cash, or sell stretch to buy back, and then obviously sell common. But like to buy, he said which for the shorts, to bury the shorts, you sell. He said it's a possibility that we could also sell stretch to buy the common. But that was initially what the pref stride was for. And that never really came about. It never was able to spread its wings, for lack of a better term, because it never really got to par, stride. And now, the reason why I kind of brought that up is because you guys are talking about Stretch and Sata's interest, your payout, 13%, 11.5%, and such. I know I'm kind of on the other side here with you guys as far as once the new Fed chair, Kevin, comes in and such, they're going to be cutting rates a good bit. And even Saylor said in the earning call, you could tell, like, he was saying, this is not going to be 11% forever, guys.
Yeah.
It's coming down at some point, whether that's in the bull, whether that's in all these cut rates. Because what are we expecting? Are we expecting 1% Fed rate?
Did you see the Mark Moss interview? He asked Fong that question.
Yeah. Fong was saying that too. Yeah.
I mean, if they do it, I would imagine they're probably going to match. I don't have any.
Yeah, a certain percentage over the Fed. Yeah, and that's the thing. So now, yes, everything. It's kind of weird because there's a lot of different dynamics in play. But the reason why I kind of brought this up was because that is where I think everyone's looking at Stretch and say yes, this is it. But I think the canaries in the coal mine are the other press right now. If you can look far enough and see that, yes, the rates are going to be going down to maybe even negative at some point here in the near future. So Stretch could be 5% here next year or two, guys. And then meanwhile you have Strike at 8% automatically. They have to pay 8% for the year automatically. And then obviously with Strike you get the capital appreciation. You can turn it in MSTR and Stride. Right now that's 10%. But if you buy it right now at $3 or whatever, that's like a 14% effective yield that you will lock in forever. I think that's where we're kind of overlooking this, the other press. Now, granted, there's some FUD coming out saying that, yes, some of these other press, if they do keep lacking, which I kind of doubt, they could, Saylor could retire one or two of them. But
the only pushback I have on you is in that call, he was like, I'm not really caring about all these other prefs. It's pretty much Stretch. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh, yeah. They're putting,
he's like,
I agree. Yeah, no, they're
Yeah, that's
pushing.
the
Yeah,
only reason I'm like, I
as
don't
of
know.
right now, yes, it's 100% stretch. Like stretch,
Yeah.
they are pushing that because that helps with buying Bitcoin. They're not going to
Yep.
be pushing Stride just because it's $30 under par and it gives you 4% more yield. So like, I think they're playing retail or like whoever is interested in stretch now because it is a great product. It's not. I don't want to say
No,
like
it's
they're
a.
playing. I don't
I
want to say
see
they're
your
playing,
point. I see your point
but like
because they're
this
like,
is
well, why do
selling
we push
this.
that? We don't have to push that
Yeah, no, but
because we have more of an obligation with that.
exactly. And then now, like, if now for people like us that are like really into this, look at everything here. I think they're the value's over here, guys. But like
You
for
might
your
be onto
normal
something.
person that doesn't even know what Bitcoin or
Yeah.
whatever, don't even know what interest rates are. Like, I think that could be another, what is it like? Your margins, my,
Opportunity. Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think, and that's why I'm kind of even really thinking, like, I was always a fan of Stride, but I think I'm really starting to think, unless you need the like biweekly payouts, that's a different story then. Like, if you need like the monthly or the biweekly
Well,
income.
wait, aren't they going to change some of the other preferreds? Aren't they going to increase the cadence?
I don't know. I haven't
I
heard.
thought it
I
was
heard
just
people
stretch.
talking about like they should change the
Yeah.
monthly or whatever. And I mean, at the end of the day, yes, that would help be more attractive to your normie, I guess. But at the end of the day, if you're just looking at yearly payouts, like it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Well, it really all comes down to this, right? Like if you're using it as a part of a margin strategy, then the stability is really needed. Right now, we're
Yep.
not at the AAA rating yet, where you can get the maintenance as low as possible for STRC. But I think that's probably coming very soon. And when that happens, the question is, what are you doing it for? If you're doing it as part of the more alpha side of the portfolio, you want to really maximize upside. I For me, I just say I always think back to, well, I'm either going to own more Bitcoin spot, preferably, or I'm going to start leaning more on MSTR, uh, because then I'm just looking for the amplification, right?
Right.
Um, if I'm going to balance that, then the portfolio itself is essentially emulating what the other preferreds are doing, right?
Hmm.
You're sort of tweaking it with like a slider as to how much weighting you're going to have on alpha or upside, and how much you're going to have on stability and distributions. And you can do that with a combination of, you could even use IBIT if you wanted, but part of the reason why I use BTCI instead of IBIT is optionality, and also because my income is falling short over the last 6 months, so I'm trying to maximize. I'm giving up the upside knowingly because I need to kind of, I need the maintenance of the
Yeah.
monthly income. So it really does kind of, you have to start looking at it through that lens. Like, why am I holding positions in all of these things? What's the point? What's the actual overall point? And you're both trying to optimize for stability, so you can leverage margin. And you tell me if it's different for you, Krash, or anybody else. You want an income, and then you want upside, and you know
I think
that's, I think, it.
I I think yes. If you're talking like strike, yeah, maybe that's not the best for if you're pulling it all on margin and such. But I think I think the rates matter. I think if we're talking about a future here with AI deflation and rates going negative, you are not going to find a 10% stock dividend payout.
Mhm.
You're not gonna find it with Stretch. You're not gonna
No.
find it with Seda probably, because at some point they're gonna come down then too.
Well, you
Um,
need it at that point.
yeah, well, okay, that's fair point, but at the same time, if I can get more, why not do that? Like you're just leaving money on the table at the end of the day.
You're just greedy.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess. I mean, but at the same time, I just think it depends on the rates, obviously, because that is what helps these other preferreds out immensely. But when you compare it to Stretch, so I just think I think that's a different angle that no one really talks about, and I think that does need to be looked at least. When thinking about, yes, I want to put everything in Stretch forever and expect 11+% forever as well. I think that's where I'm kind of like, hey, Jack, just be cautious here. Like, don't be expecting 11% forever. You know. So
Could you run through like a potential scenario where, people miss out on what like what you're stating here? Like what does it look like? Because I do remember, what was it, Strike and Strife trading well above par, and there was even people speculating. I think it was Strike could go, closer to 200. I think even Darkside was saying that.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, Michael Saylor said that in the earnings call. He said all of these are mispriced and undervalued. All of
Undervalued,
the
yeah.
prefs, and I think he did say Strife should be, if the market priced us fairly and knew what these were, Strife would be at $200 right now.
okay.
I mean, technically everything would be pretty close to par, but yeah. You want me to bring up a stride here, or is that what was your question then?
Oh, just what the what the opportunity could be
Okay.
here.
Well, first and foremost, you're only getting stretch at $100. Like you're not gaining no capital
Right.
gains.
Right.
So that right there is cutting you down. Like, well, it depends where you're at in your portfolio though, too. Like if you have like a spare 500 grand just sitting around doing absolutely nothing, then sure, yeah, like stretch, yeah, just put that in there because you're going to keep that 500. It's going to be at par. But obviously, if you want a little bit of capital gains, you got $25 capital gains here. Once rates start coming down, once people start realizing what these prefs are, with Stride, plus your effective yield of 14% when you bought in right now at 75, you're going to be effectively that is forever. That is forever. That 14%. If you bought right now, that's 14% forever, plus the capital appreciation of $100. So $25 a share you get off that what you bought in, because 10% is locked in. That is par for Stride. Is Strife 10% and Strike is 8, I think. So yeah, so like that they are obligated to pay out 10% yearly in dividends. So and then obviously if effective yield is where you get it at the price where you pay. But so like that is not moving. Stretch, that is moving. So like you're losing out in the long run with capital gains. You're also losing out in the long run with the dividend. It's just, are you willing to wait 3 months quarterly dividends? I think if we're talking about income funds, and depending, like I said, we're depending where your portfolio is and how much you need the income monthly, that doesn't bother me that much. I'm willing to wait 3 months to get a better return instead of bi-weekly or week or monthly.
What is it safe to assume that if we saw the other preferreds move, that likely Bitcoin is probably, back above?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
Bitcoin's moving too.
Well,
I
let
would.
me let me run this by you
Mhm.
and see what your thoughts are. Have you given thought to what? Because obviously, one of the benefits of the other preferreds is, of course, the distributions. But what if you put, and if you have 500 grand, congratulations, that's awesome. I'd probably have a hard time not right now putting that all into just spot. But let's say I just had it to play around with the income portfolio and I still haven't hit my goal for income, and I definitely haven't. What would it look like if I put it into BTCI? Right. So BTCI is averaging between 20 and 25%, right?
Yeah.
So and if I bought 500,000 of BTCI and Bitcoin recovers and gets to, let's just say it goes back up to 150,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
it goes to new all-time highs.
Yeah.
Now I'm holding, what would that be? Let's just make the math easy, and let's just say it doubles. So now I'm sitting at 1 million in alpha, or a value, but 25% of that has been paid to me, or will be paid to me over the course of a year.
Yeah.
So that, I guess what I'm getting at is, but maybe the performance on the preferred side, if we're staying in fiat land and we're doing all the dollar denomination, then what does that look like if I put that amount into a strife or strike?
Yeah. First thing I would say is risk. I would say there's way more risk in BTC. I would say there's risk in BTCI because you do have to rely a little bit more on the team, like with the cover calls and everything like that. And obviously, I'm not saying like Bitcoin's going to crash or like go to zero or anything, but like there is
Well, it
probably a little
could.
bit more risk with that capital, just in general. And with Strike, if you're since you brought up Strike, that is following MSTR. Once MSTR goes up, it's like 1/10. So like you can convert that into MSTR at the end of the day, like at a certain point if you want. Plus, I mean, I kind of look at Strike like a MSTR that pays dividends.
Mhm.
So, but and way safer too.
Not as volatile.
Yeah, and I think these are the bottoms here of all these prefs. I think it is because all these prefs are like 5 times collateralized. So like you're not really gaining much between the prefs.
So you're getting more principal protection sort of baked into the underlying
Yes, and not as
compared
much
to BTCI.
not as much volatility, not as much risk. Now granted, like I'm with you, I don't think the risk is really that high with BTCI either, but I'm just throwing out like if I'm talking to like a normie, um, the prefs are way safer. Prefs are way safer than BTCI. Talking to a normal person. But I don't know. I, I'm just holding. If I see, I have a little bit of an issue with BTCI. Not an issue, but I don't necessarily want it because I'm holding IBIT. IBIT in my portfolio or spot Bitcoin, but for this example, IBIT because that is the asset in the portfolio that I can grow my margin potential.
Mhm.
Yes, you could argue
Leverage.
that with BTCI as well. Yeah, I agree. But I think I personally would rather just ride BT or ride
You
IBIT instead.
you really there is very little difference if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
if you
I agree.
reinvest. There's almost no difference as far as the margin impact because of the
Yeah,
same maintenance levels. So but you don't have an option of taking some of that, or also maybe buying other things with it, right? You can play around a little bit more with the distributions.
right.
You don't have to put it all back into BTCI to grow the potential margin potential. So, but
Yeah,
I totally understand. I mean, IBIT. You could argue that IBIT is more, I don't know, reliable, although I think they're probably equally as. I mean, it's all
yeah,
fiat. So
yeah,
at the end
yeah.
of the day, I mean, you are just trusting that these third parties, that the counterparty risk is not going to, show you its teeth, and you're not going to lose your ass.
Right.
But
I think I seen because I even looked at this last night when we talked about it last. Through Telegram. I think the last month BTCI went up 12% and IBIT went up 17%. So I don't know if you can kind of tell. I didn't see what the distributions were, so I'm guessing that was 5%. That 5% difference was distribution difference. I don't know if
usually
you
that's
can.
what it is. Like you
Okay.
can go to that stock and what's the name of that site? You can actually do with dividends turned on, and I've done it before and
Oh, okay,
compared it to
okay.
IBIT. It's very close. It's
Yeah,
very close. It's
that's what
like
I was expecting. Like I just
IBIT
don't
is
because I don't own it, so I don't know. Oh yeah, it was 5% or was it 7% distribution rate? So did BTCI actually do better? Like I don't know, but that's kind of what I was expecting to hear.
yeah, it is. IBIT is better. It does perform better, but they're close.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't say it's negligible.
I guess it does kind of depend on what you need that
Yeah.
asset for. Like if you want your margin to grow a little bit faster or uh bigger, maybe. I mean, it's tough. I guess it is all dependent on where you're at and what you want as far as that part of your portfolio.
I could see the use case depending upon your age, your life situation. I think it just all depends, but I do see the opportunity. I see what you're pointing out.
Hmm. Yeah,
Final thoughts. Did we get through the last topic?
I think. Yeah. Just the earnings call was basically our last one here. But yeah, anything else from the earnings call, at least Adam, that you want to touch on?
The only thing I really want to keep an eye on is when does stretch hit par again. I think for me that's a big signal
Hmm.
to see kind of how the market is receiving it at this point, and then also receiving that call.
I would have expected it by now, Thursday, to be back
Yep,
at par.
same.
So if it's not by tomorrow, Friday, I'd be a little disappointed, but it is super close. Like it's not like it's down at 98 or something.
It's a couple cents. Yeah.
I think it's 3 cents
so,
off right now. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a couple
3
cents.
off.
So I just want to see it because I want to see Saylor start printing some more coupons to go buy Bitcoin. That's it.
Yeah. Dude, I let me throw this out to you guys. Do you think now with his willingness to sell Bitcoin, get rid of the convertible bonds, and just the sheer having Stretch doing what Stride was made to do, kind of as in protection for the company, do you see the Nakamoto coming before September, October?
I see MicroStrategy stock itself, and like the Nakamoto aside, I could see him hitting a Nakamoto this year easy. But the stock, I think, is going to start ripping the faces off the shorts.
Yeah.
That was the most bullish call I've ever seen. That was the most brilliantly laid out scenario, like 30 something scenarios. Bro, you have no idea what you're up against.
He
I'm
has a
about to rip your
vendetta against these
motherfucking
shorts.
wings off. Let's go. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, dude, this is so huge. I've
It-
never been pumped after an earnings call in my life. And that one, I was just like,
Yeah, that's pretty hard to do because
fucking
after
A.
after
that's
every
boring shit. And I was just
after
like,
every
fucking let's
MSTR
go.
earnings call, I feel like this, but last night was like, oh yeah, we got it here now.
Yeah,
We got
dude.
it.
It's like,
So, beautiful stuff. So yeah,
I was joking, dude. I was joking with my wife. I'm like, I'm actually listening to a full fucking earnings call. Like that's where I'm at in my life right now.
I would rather be nowhere.
And
else.
I was fucking loving every minute of it. What the fuck is wrong with me?
I'm right there. I'd rather be nowhere else than right there. It's almost like a holiday to me anymore. So
we're like posture.
Yes, sir,
100%,
dude. Hell yeah. So, and then also too, speaking of earnings call, if anyone's interested for the Strive earnings call, that is in a couple weeks as well. So I am going to be looking forward to that as well. But anyway, Adam, my man, thanks so much for coming on here. I know you got to drop.
Dude, it was a blast. Thank you guys.
I just think everything's here at the bottom right now for the most part. So like, I'm willing to take that risk right now. Now, if we're in a bull market, then fuck yeah, I'm just putting everything in the Stretch and Saylor or a pref, whatever. But yeah, I just think I think that's just another tool we could use to speed things up or grow things, So
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. I would love to be able to leverage STRC more, but based on my mentality around margin right now, I'm more inclined to put it into BTCI. Even though because I think yeah, even if it pulled back, if there was another pullback in Bitcoin price down into the 60s, it's not going to make much of a difference. I don't think it's going to be there for long. I'm ultimately pretty bullish on the rest of the year, but there are a bunch of variables in the narrative layer. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that could affect anything that isn't, that's another reason why. But then there's really no reason to do it with something like SGov or Week because there's no upside potential there, and all you're doing is just
yeah, you're losing 1% or 2% on the interest then. So
exactly, that's all you're doing. So
it's
it's really no different than just paying down your margin. And then what are you going to do? Pay down your low interest margin debt with higher interest PLOC debt?
Yeah, and you're working backwards then almost.
Yep.
And I agree. Like, yeah, if you had actual cash, then that makes all the sense in the world. I can understand that why that would be an avenue or an option. But like, yeah, for this flywheel we're trying to do, that doesn't work. It doesn't, So yeah. All right. I guess we could pretty much wrap up here. Is there anything next week, guys, that you're looking forward to at all? More of
the same, I guess.
I was gonna say more of the same entertainment. And we feel like there's nothing really here set in stone that we're looking forward to other than maybe the earnings call, which we knew about. But like everything else, man, just random shit every single day to talk about.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to trying to tune in on some more signal from what's apparently coming in July. So I mean, I'm going to keep my eye on that.
It does seem to be a lot of different people, a lot of different clips. Like even the strategic Bitcoin reserve, there's different like White House officials coming out here publicly saying, "Hey, this could be a thing here in July, which lines up to a
Yeah,
lot of our
David
theories
Bailey
of
talking
July.
about it. Yeah, everybody. So like it's interesting for sure. It just makes me want to put every single penny I got in the spot. So that's all I can do right now. So yeah.
Yeah, we can't get all excited like we thought for October. We can't get all excited like that.
No. And you know what? If it drags on a little farther, I'm good with it too. I'm just
Yeah,
saying, like,
stack
it's
it.
just I don't need it to moon right away. I could take a whole another year of this beating. I'm used to it now. So,
I was gonna say
but
even a grind up is fine. Like
just a grind, yeah.
for
Just a grind.
income, like funds, like grind might actually be a little better than straight ups. In such a short period
Yeah.
of time. But I get it all depends what kind of income fund I guess you're technically in. Generally speaking, MSTR did not. That's another point I wanted to bring up with the earnings call. MSTR did have a little bit of a dip once Saylor started continuously saying that he's selling the Bitcoin, but it recovered really nicely, and we didn't really have a big downturn like we've seen like the last 3 earning calls. Meta, I know you remember like the last 3+ earning calls. It went straight down. Like it would try to rally, and then it would go straight down for like the next couple of days. But then we could argue that was Jane Street as well. So,
well, yeah, or whatever Chanos had going on. I don't know,
yeah.
man. The thing is that one of the what was it, the last earning call before this one or the one before that, where they over performed expectations and it didn't even matter. It was
Oh
still
yeah, it
straight.
still went down. Yeah.
It was just like, so I just thought like an earnings call is an automatic dump. I don't care what the news is.
Yeah.
But I think this earnings call, I think we saw a little bit of potential response to the again the warlike posture that Saylor took. I think that's maybe what we were seeing. So it wasn't that there wasn't there was a little bit more to the upside. Actually, it was kind of back and forth, but I think it's more about what didn't happen than what actually did happen. And I didn't see that same kind of downward pressure that I'd seen in the previous earnings calls.
Yeah.
So that's something.
That's
I don't
positive,
know.
yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if any shorts were removed after that. So,
yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. Like, there's ways to see that stuff. I'm not that
I don't
advanced,
know, yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Unwinding the shorts there right away after seeing that, even though most of the time they are stupid. But yeah, I mean,
he sounded like he was threatening somebody, and
yeah.
And
I agree.
and maybe he was just being Saylor, and he knew he would get people excited by saying something kind of badass like that. But
art of war,
yeah, possibly. Josh Mann just posted it less than an hour ago, and this is an interesting post. I'll read it. Bitcoin is anti-fragile. Even if strategy were to sell some Bitcoin, it wouldn't crash the price in any meaningful way. The network doesn't care about one holder, even the biggest corporate one selling a slice. Bitcoin has absorbed far worse. Exchanges getting hacked, governments banning it, trillion-dollar paper markets trying to suppress it. Every shock just hardens it further. What doesn't kill Bitcoin makes it stronger, and nothing kills Bitcoin. Furthermore, the new changes from Strategy's last earnings call make them more anti-fragile than ever. So he's become like a little bit of a cheerleader now.
Yeah, he's starting to become like a bull.
Yeah, and it's interesting timing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about this guy. There's something off about it. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying
agree.
that's good or bad. There's just something weird about his account.
I agree.
So
yeah, and obviously he called multiple calls on strategy and Bitcoin and stuff like that. So like, I mean, that seems to be positive. Like, obviously we don't know if he's on the left or the right here as far as bad or good, but like, yeah, it just seems like he's starting to swing here, the bullish side of things, and that could be really good, although he did call for 444. So yeah, he got that one wrong. But other than that could have been misinformation though as well, that's like what these posts, Q posts, so he says there's disinformation in here as well. So yeah, man, this is it's always fun. Every day something new and something new to talk about, but we'll be here next week, right?
yeah, there's going to be plenty of stuff to catch up on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, Ride, Meta, Adam, thank you guys so much for joining here. Let us know in the comments, guys, what you guys are thinking. Click like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed this content. And until next week, guys, stay out of that collateral damage. And if you guys enjoyed this roundtable, check out the whole roundtable series right up top here.